Oh, here she goes. Oh. We are back. The Depression Diaries went down a storm in a teacup. So we thought we'd do some more.
Welcome to the Depression Diaries.
Sounded really good. Yeah. Today we're going to talk about the difference between depression and anxiety. What do you think? Because you probably know the actual definition.
Well, I don't actually. We should look that up.
Facts. Depression is more than simply
feeling unhappy or fed up for a few days. Doesn't really tell you.
And there lies the problem.
Personally, I think the difference between depression and anxiety is depression is an illness. It's a mood that you cannot shift. It's a lethargy for life. There's nothing that kind of shifts it. Whereas anxiety is very usually our thoughts around things. It's our thinking that increases anxiety, that makes anxiety. It's our thoughts around a particular subject or a person or something happening. It's our thoughts that trigger anxiety.
I always describe mine as like a grey cloud above my head.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, there's bloody thunder and lightning. But other days it can just be grey. And then I've always had that most of my life. And I've only recently been told I've got anxiety. And I never really knew what that was. I thought it was for 16-year-olds, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But actually I always thought that depression was how I felt internally, and my anxiety, the way it's manifested, has been quite physical in panic attacks and skin picking. So it's almost like the depression I can hide, but the anxiety is almost my body and mind just letting it out. And it's almost like, for me, it feels like a way of...
We were so in the flow. What do you think is the difference between depression and anxiety?
Letters.
How can you be depressed if you're with him?
Or,
It's true, though, isn't it? It's true.
Or how could you not be?
Where was I? I was going to say my depression is how I feel inside, but my anxiety, the way it's manifested, is physical and out there, and people can see it. And it's much harder, actually, for me when I'm anxious to hide my depression. It's almost like my body is like, help me.
So I think anxiety fuels patterns of behaviours. So those are fueled by anxiety, so fueled by your thoughts. Like any pattern, we have the ability to change a pattern of behaviour, and it's about having strategies and a plan and, you know, getting kind of underneath the pattern to see what it really is about. So there will be triggers for those panic attacks, there will be triggers for that skin picking. It's very unique. So my binge eating, for example, is fueled by anxiety. My trigger underneath is usually that I need some kind of comfort, or it's stress, or it's that overwhelmed feeling. Now I have to be very mindful, you know, that I have some downtime, that I don't try and do this and this before I pick Albie up, because otherwise that feeling of overwhelm, that feeling of stress, that leads to patterns of behaviour that aren't helpful for me. Our anxiety is fueled by our thinking, by our thoughts around different subjects.
I think I find that the most difficult, especially recently. I can't control my thoughts, and I can't control what comes at me. The only thing I can control is my reactions, and I guess it stresses me out because I'm not handling my reactions appropriately.
Yeah, so that feeling of out of controlness, it's part of our society, our crazy lives now. You know, we've got this glorification of busy. It's about taking a step back, and this is where mindfulness comes in, learnings around that, because it's that ability to remain present. You know, life is hard. It is hard. Of course it's hard. If it was easy,
we'll be talking about what's in our bag.
Yeah, exactly. It's important to realise that it is normal to find life hard.
I read this beautiful quote last night. It was on Pinterest. It was something like, nothing in nature blooms all year long, so why do you expect to? And I thought, oh, Pinterest, you got me thinking. You know, it's just interesting how we're not going to be walking on sunshine 365 days of the year.
But there is this pressure to be, you know, it's like the question, how are you? You know, the expectation is you answer, yeah, I'm great, yeah, I'm fabulous. That's just fueled by other people's behaviours, about society norms and all the rest of it. You know, and how I managed my depression when it was quite bad a few weeks ago was I gave into it. I let it. I was like, okay, you win today, let's have a quiet day. Actually asking yourself, what is the kindest thing I can do for myself right now, is something that we can all benefit from. There is an element of going with it and knowing that it will pass. I think that's what took so long, was that I was like 38 before I realised that I was in charge of me. And I think as I had that realisation earlier, and that there was something I could actually do about my depression, about my anxiety, I think I would have got to this place a lot quicker.
Is that annoying for you?
A little bit, but then also I do believe there's certain kind of fate to our lives and to what we're doing, who comes in and out of our lives. So there is a certain level of acceptance of that. And there's the Maya Angelou,
Know better.
Do better.
Do better.
I think we know so much more about our minds now. There are so many more people talking about it. The conversation is on the table now.
So there you have it, depression and anxiety. I would love to know what you guys think, so leave us a comment down below. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is Mary Meadows. I'm Natasha Bailie.
The more you know who you are and what you want, the less you'll